Picture this. Your phone rings, you call a property management company, and a calm, professional receptionist picks up on the very first ring. She knows the buildings, the amenities, the prices, and she can transfer you to the right person in seconds. You hang up thinking, that was smooth. But here's the twist. For 2 full years, that receptionist was not human at all. It was an AI voice agent named Katie, running 24/7 without a single sick day, vacation, or out of office reply. Over 2 years, Katie handled more than 2,500 live calls for a real property management company, not a lab demo. Every tenant question, every prospect inquiry, every late night emergency started with this digital receptionist. No voicemail tree. No, our office is currently closed. Just a synthetic voice that never got tired. In a minute, we are going to unpack the $48,000 return on investment behind this and why it matters for who gets hired next. Let us start with the bottleneck this owner faced. Solar property management looked fine on paper. Leads were coming in, properties were listed, phones were ringing. But the real choke point was attention. The owner personally answered almost every call. Tenants asking about amenities, prospects chasing availability, owners wanting updates. Each call carved his day into 5-minute chunks, and each chunk spawned more tasks, emails, notes, scheduling tours. On paper, it looked like 20 minutes of talk time per day. In reality, it was 30 to 40 minutes of low-leverage work. Now zoom out. Over 2 years, those scattered minutes added up to about 486 hours. That is more than 12 full work weeks of a $100 per hour owner acting as a receptionist, answering basic questions. Copy-pasting information? Logging details. If you run any kind of business, ask yourself this. What would you do with 12 extra weeks of focus time? Because this is where the stakes get real. Those hours are either spent growing the business or they are burned on the phone. Katie was built to erase that drag. She sat on a dedicated phone number, plastered across the website, email signatures, and marketing materials. Every inbound call hit her first. She could answer questions, qualify prospects, recommend specific properties, and then warm transfer serious leads to a human leasing agent like Dana Sherwood. This was not a cute chatbot stitched together for a conference demo. It was a production-grade digital employee, answering real people every day, nights and weekends included. Under the hood, Katie ran on retail AI for real-time voice and call control, 11 labs for natural-sounding speech, and Make.com as the automation glue. When a call came in, retail handled the speech recognition and intent detection. Make.com pulled property data, checked availability, logged the call, and triggered follow-up emails or tickets. 11 labs turned responses into a smooth, low-latency voice that callers could interrupt and talk over naturally. But here is the part nobody expected. The real magic was not the model. It was the workflow. Look at the numbers. Over 2 years, Katie handled more than 2,500 calls, averaging 3 to 4 calls per day. That translated into those 486 hours of human work taken off the calendar. A typical human-handled interaction used to sprawl. 10 to 15 minutes on the phone, then another 10 to 20 minutes of follow-up admin. Katie compressed that into a 1 to 5 minute flow where the conversation, data capture, and admin all happened automatically. Shorter calls, same or better service. So what did that mean in dollars? The conservative headline was $48,600 in return on investment. The math was simple. Value the owner's time at $100 per hour, multiply by 486 hours saved, and stop there. That number does not even count extra leads captured, fewer missed calls, or faster response during peak periods. Realistically, a business owner's effective hourly value is often higher when you factor in sales, strategy, and deals they can pursue instead of answering the phone. When you include those opportunity costs, the true return probably creeps into the low six figures. But the hidden wins went beyond money. Speed quietly became Katie's killer feature. Because she picked up on the first ring, speed to lead went from minutes or hours to seconds. In real estate, where multiple families might be eyeing the same unit, that near-instant response often decides who books the first tour and who never gets a call back. In a minute, we will look at how this changed caller behavior and even the shape of the workday for the leasing team. Because Katie answered every time, prospects stopped bouncing to competitors just because they hit voicemail. Every one of those 2,500 plus calls went through a structured intake flow that captured intent, contact details, and preferred times before attention drifted to another website. And because she worked 24/7 late-night Zillow scrolls, Early morning relocation calls and weekend bursts all got real responses. Holidays and Sundays, which used to be dead zones, turned into steady streams of qualified leads and maintenance triage instead of voicemail purgatory. Even the daily rhythm of work changed. Before automation, call volume spiked around 9:30 a.m. and 2 p.m., creating Monday morning backlogs and rushed follow-up. With Katie flattening the curve, calls spread more evenly across the day and night. The human leasing team could focus on high-intent tours and serious deals instead of juggling basic questions. This is where you start to see the bigger picture. The AI agent did not just save time, it reshaped how and when humans did their best work. So, what exactly did this digital employee do on each call? Katie was not a generic chatbot parked on a phone line. She ran a tightly scoped playbook tuned to property management, identify caller intent, map it to leasing, maintenance, or accounting, and then execute. Within a few seconds, she classified the call, pulled from the property database, and decided whether to answer directly or escalate. The goal was not endless small talk. It was fast, correct routing and resolution. Routing intelligence sat at the center. Simple FAQ-style questions stayed with Katie. High-value or high-risk calls triggered a warm transfer to a human. That handoff was not a cold dump to a generic inbox. Katie confirmed the caller's need, surfaced the correct contact, like leasing agent Dana Sherwood, and initiated a real-time transfer. The human joined with context already gathered, so the conversation could skip the basics and jump straight to solving the problem. Emergencies exposed how opinionated the system had to be. Phrases like flood, fire, gas leak, or no heat in winter were treated as non-negotiable escalations. Those calls jumped out of the normal flow and routed straight to on-call maintenance or emergency lines. No cute conversation. No trying to keep the caller chatting. When safety was at stake, the AI's job was simple. Get a human on the line fast. This is a glimpse of how serious production agents must be, far beyond the playful chatbots most people see. All of this worked because the prompt behind Katie was treated like architecture, not a magic spell. Instead of a one-line instruction like, "You are a receptionist," the creator, Brendan Joette, wrote a layered system prompt. It defined Katie's persona as a calm, professional receptionist for solar property management and then listed explicit skills: de-escalate frustrated tenants, qualify prospects by budget, and move in date. Decide when to transfer, and always capture contact details. The entire operational knowledge base, from building names like Azure House to emergency procedures, was embedded directly into that prompt. Instead of building a complex retrieval system with vector databases, they chose speed and reliability. For a single client with a fixed inventory and about 2,500 calls over 2 years, stuffing the rules and facts into the prompt kept responses fast and reduced failure modes. Think of that prompt as Katie's constitution. Every call replayed it in miniature. When she recommends 124 Ocean Crest Court, also known as Azure House, and offers a warm transfer that is not improvisation. That is the Constitution in action. Here is the strategic twist. This whole system was built on a no-code stack. Retell AI exposed webhooks and function calls. Make.com orchestrated back-end steps like updating CR miss, sending emails, and creating tickets. 11 Labs handled the voice. Non-developers could tweak flows in Make, adjust prompts in Retell, or swap voices in 11 Labs without touching raw code. That means you do not need a full engineering team to deploy a serious voice agent anymore. You need a clear process and the will to automate it. So what are the real-world stakes here? For business owners, this kind of AI agent turns phones from an interruption machine into an automated intake system. For staff, it shifts work away from repetitive triage and toward high-value conversations and decisions. For callers, it means fewer missed calls, faster answers, and less time stuck in voicemail loops. And for you, whether you are a founder, operator, or builder, it raises a blunt question. If a voice agent can run the front desk for 2 years straight, which parts of your workflow are next? Katie's story is not about replacing humans wholesale. It is about offloading a well-defined operational bottleneck to software that never sleeps, never forgets to follow up, and never asks for a raise. The owner went from being the switchboard to being the closer. Those reclaimed hours shifted into tour follow-ups, owner and investor relations, expansion, marketing, and pricing decisions. In other words, the human moved up the value chain while the AI handled the grind at the bottom. If you are thinking about your first digital employee, this case study gives you a blueprint. Start with one painful, repeatable workflow. Map the intents, the routing rules, the emergency paths. Choose a stack that lets you iterate fast, whether that is retell, make, and 11 labs or alternatives. Then treat your prompt like architecture, not decoration. Because in production, the agents that win are not the ones that sound the most human. They are the ones that do the job day after day, call after call. If you want more deep dives like this on real AI agents in production, not just shiny demos, make sure you subscribe. Drop a comment with the part of your business you would most like to automate, or tell me if you want a follow-up video breaking down the exact 4-step blueprint to launch your own voice